With 12 days to go until Donald Trump is inaugurated and he begins to clean house at the Justice Department, the race is on to salvage what remains of special counsel Jack Smith's 2 criminal cases against Trump. All that is left is the special counsel's 2-volume report outlining the investigation and charging of both the 2020 election interference case against Trump and the criminal case over Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents. Today, the special counsel's office revealed that Attorney General Merrick Garland is planning to release part of the report to the public, the volume about Trump's alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election. But the fate of even that much of the report now rests at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Back with me now are MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin and Mark Joseph Stern, senior writer for Slate Magazine. Lisa, why can't the Attorney General just release this report?
Because Judge Cannon, who is Judge Aileen Cannon of the Southern District of Florida, she was the judge who had the Mar-a-Lago documents case before she decided that it was unconstitutional for a special counsel to have brought that case in the first place. Nonetheless, she decided yesterday that she was going to temporarily enjoin the Attorney General, Jack Smith, and anybody working with either one of them, not only from releasing the final report, and by that she didn't distinguish between the volumes.
Because they're all bundled together into one big volume.
Final report. So even though she doesn't have jurisdiction technically over that portion of the report that corresponds
January 6th,
to the
2020.
January 6th case, she enjoined the release of the report and also said to them, you can't even disseminate or convey to people the contents or information of the report in any way beyond the Department of Justice. That means Merrick Garland can't release the report without being in noncompliance with the court order.
So this now goes to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, Mark. And in the before times, that would have been seen as a very conservative court that might not do the bidding of someone who is, basically running up against the incoming Republican president, but has been sort of, a bastion of level-headedness when it comes to Aileen Cannon and her, wackadoo rulings. What's your expectation here?
I do not think that the 11th Circuit will back up Judge Cannon. And I actually just want to clarify, Judge Cannon leapt ahead of the 11th Circuit here. Trump and his co-defendants filed these requests at the 11th Circuit and with Judge Cannon at the same time. If the 11th Circuit had wanted to block the release of this report or any part of it, it could have done so already. But it didn't. It chose not to. I think that's a good omen, and it suggests that the 11th Circuit will not ultimately try to block any of this report. But Judge Cannon wouldn't wait. She couldn't wait for this superior court, which, by the way, has total jurisdiction over this case. As Lisa said, Judge Cannon does not have jurisdiction. It's not her case anymore. She couldn't wait for them to act, so she said, I'm going to step in and shield Trump and his co-defendants from the release of any part of this report, including provisions of the report that are all about the election subversion case that was tried, or at least attempted to be tried, in a D.C. court, over which, again, she has no control, no authority, no jurisdiction. So this is a great example of her acting entirely without authority and outside her lane.
It's just par for the course with Aileen Cannon, isn't it? I mean, she's made a number of these calls that have ultimately humiliated her.
I don't know that Aileen Cannon sees it that way, that she feels humiliated by it. If anything, I think she feels celebrated by the right. And certainly at the press conference that he gave the other day, you saw that with Trump going out of his way to praise her as a brilliant and brave jurist. So Aileen Cannon, while certainly denigrated in some places, is elevated and praised in others, may not be necessarily on this network in this conversation.
Well, but I just mean the 11th Circuit has slapped her down before in terms of bad rulings.
Absolutely. The 11th Circuit slapped her down twice during the investigative phase here. You'll remember she tried to appoint a special master to oversee all of the discovery in the case and really prevent the law enforcement agencies here from making use of the things that they seized from Mar-a-Lago in the first place. It was because of that that the indictment was delayed perhaps longer than it would have been, even though this case was indicted in June of 2023. But putting that aside, yes, Aileen Cannon is a judicial maximalist for all of the reasons that Mark was just outlining, sort of grabbing authority and power that she doesn't have to return what has now become a predictable result for Donald Trump.
Mark, if the 11th Circuit does rule in favor of the DOJ, if this report, or at least part of this report, actually comes out, what import do you think it has? What weight do you think it will carry?
I think it will prove conclusively that Jack Smith was right to bring these charges, that Merrick Garland was right to appoint him and to back him up under serious political attack, and that there is a very credible case that Trump committed serious crimes, particularly with regard to January 6th and attempting to overturn the election. You know, Jack Smith still has his hands on a great deal of evidence that we probably have not seen and that we won't see until, if this report is released, if it is released. The public deserves to see that. And I very much hope that, frankly, even if Judge Cannon still tries to suppress this report and keep it from the public, that maybe Joe Biden and Merrick Garland decide that that immunity decision that the Supreme Court handed down, it works for Democratic presidents, too. And maybe Joe Biden needs to step in and ensure that the public sees this record of crime, because otherwise Trump is going to step in and wipe it off the books forever.
Lisa Rubin, MSNBC legal correspondent, and Mark Joseph Stern, senior writer for Slate. Thank you both for your time and wisdom, guys. Appreciate you.